I'm Wes Dobry, an enterprise sales engineer for IGEL. And I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about how IGEL and VMware are working to deliver the best end user experience possible. So, IGEL's mission is to be simply the number one edge operating system. And that's because IGEL envisions a world where all applications and resources where your end users may access them are likely going to end up cloud delivered. So we want to focus to deliver a next generation edge operating system for cloud workspaces. And we want to do that in a way that for both your administrators and your end users is simple, smart, and secure. So to break that down a little bit, next gen meaning embedding and optimizing technologies that your end users use to give them the best experience possible. Edge operating system meaning running on the device where your users are interfacing with the hardware. And cloud workspaces meaning giving them an agnostic platform for accessing their applications. So that means any cloud, any device from anywhere. So wherever your users are working and wherever they're accessing their applications, whether that's your own private cloud running any version of Horizon, or whether you're using public cloud solutions like AVS or AWS, we want to provide them access to their applications and desktops with a full managed operating system. So taking an approach like this is revolutionary in how simple it is. We know that delivering this operating system needs to be easy for IT, easy for your end users, and a very robust solution. So to do this, we embed over 100 technologies into it to give your users an unprecedented experience. So this ends up boosting their productivity and empowering them with a very high fidelity experience while doing things like reducing your operational costs and accelerating your deployments while increasing security. So here's a sampling of some of those technologies that I mentioned. IGEL focuses on our Ready program to take technologies that you're likely already using within your organization and embed them in our endpoint solution so that you go and give your users the experience that they're expecting. So this ends up with a very flexible, secure, smart, and simple operating system that your end users end up using. That does things like allow you to direct install it on your existing hardware. So if you have a piece of hardware that's 64-bit with 2 gigs of RAM, 2 gigs of storage, we can install on it and run and effectively take devices that you likely have retired and allow you to redeploy them. And then, of course, if you have work from home solutions or scenarios where you have devices that you don't want to permanently install IGEL OS on it, or scenarios where you don't own the hardware, that's where IGEL UD Pocket comes in. Allows you to temporarily deploy IGEL OS to an endpoint device, and then you simply unplug it and take the operating system with you. And then, of course, IGEL also offers their own hardware range, where we embed or include IGEL OS on it and provide your users experience all the way from a base level thin client all the way up to multi-monitor 4K support. But on top of this, it's important to provide a single pane of glass for management. And that's where IGEL UMS comes into play, giving you a very easy way to do high scalable management of endpoint devices and deploy configurations across hundreds of thousands of devices concurrently. And then on top of that, we layer on IGEL Cloud Gateway to allow you to manage devices from anywhere where they're connected. So seamlessly managing the same devices, whether they're on network or off network, and doing this in a transparent to end user scenario. So let me show you a little bit about how IGEL OS actually works. So here you can see IGEL OS. It's a minimal Linux operating system designed for high levels of customization and flexibility. That way it can be catered to whatever end user workflows you have. Right now, as you can see, I have a very simple configuration on the device, which has a start menu and some simple system applications on it. You'll notice I don't really have much else going on here. No desktop icons, no applications for use on the device locally. Switching over, this is the IGEL UMS console. This is your single pane of glass for managing IGEL devices. And I like to go and break this into a couple different pieces. First one being profiles. Think of profiles as configurations that you can deploy to endpoint devices. And the way IGEL manages this is almost anything you can change on the endpoint can be managed centrally. That way you're not making individual changes on any device, you're managing everything from one single pane of glass. So this allows you to manage everything down from individual connection settings within your Horizon client all the way to system functionality. Now these can be assigned to different areas, such as directories where devices might live. So think of this like applying GPOs to specific OUs. So you can see in my VMware demo folder here, I have one object assigned for my base settings that I showed you before. Now you can see that applies to one device here. But if I take this device and simply drag and drop it to a different folder, like my cloud folder here, where I have a couple other objects applied to it, you can now see that it asks you a very unique to IGEL question. When should these changes take effect? Next reboot? Or do we need to push this out now, like a security patch or something like that? So if I click on OK, we'll reach out to the device, and you see the device says, I have a new configuration. Should I apply these changes? And you can see now I've done a nice visualization change by changing the background, and I now have a desktop icon for my Horizon client. If I double click on this, you'll see that it automatically authenticates me with the credentials in the configuration, and I can launch my apps and desktops from here. So if I simply launch my desktop here, just like we would expect, it launches up to a full screen desktop, and I'm in working on my VDI. So we'll just disconnect this guy and move over to the next scenario. So let's say that now I have more than one environment that I'm using Horizon on. So if I apply it here, I want to go and use both my local environments and my cloud environments. Just like before, I'll apply these configuration changes now, and I'll go ahead and click OK to apply these quicker. And you'll see I've done another visualization change, and now I have a few desktop icons. You'll see that I still have my Horizon Cloud that I had before. We can go ahead and open this guy up, and now I can also do things like connecting into a Horizon 8 VDI pool, a Horizon 7 VDI pool, and even a legacy VMware View pool over here. So that's now 4 desktops from 4 VDI pools all up and running at the same time on one machine that was reconfigured in a few seconds. But let's say that this isn't the workflow that you want. You don't want your users to manage multiple different environments and click on the icons for themselves. We can also do configurations like kiosks as an example, where we automatically launch a desktop and get your users directly into whatever resources they need. So now you'll see a full screen Horizon client, automatically authenticated, automatically launched in a VDI desktop. So no user interaction required, gets me to a Windows desktop on a highly secure Linux endpoint operating system. And then also as quickly as that, I can take this device and revert it back to how it was originally as well. So that's multiple different workflows, multiple different configurations, all done in a matter of a couple minutes. So now that you've seen how IGEL can be used and managed, hopefully that shows you how it can fit into your environment. If you have any questions, please feel free to visit the IGEL booth after this session. And lastly, thank you very much.